Welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian Hinton.
And I'm Frederick Philip von Weiss, and you are consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology that love what they do.
And do web good. Boom. Well done. I like the end there.
It's all the grenades going off in the background behind me. Hey, real quickly, everybody, if you like the show, if you just like watching every weekend because you find Brian Hinton crazy smart and aggressively adorable, then
it's the hair.
Yeah, it's the hair, definitely. Go on iTunes, give us a like, give us a review. Go to YouTube, subscribe, write us some comments, join the community. We'd really appreciate it. With that being said, and without any further ado, we'll go ahead and we'll welcome our guest. We have creative developer Patrick Brouwer. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks. Yeah, thanhanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on, man.
And I love that title, creative developer.
Yeah, it's always hard to titling yourself, right?
Well, it's often it's not like creative tends to be a designer, and to have like a developer be creative, which seeing the things that you do, definitely you are. Yeah. And I like the title; it's perfect.
Well, I consider myself a creative coder, maybe.
Creative.
I'm not
coder.
really a designer, or yeah. That's a title, but yeah.
Well, it takes an immense amount of creativity to think about some of these things and concepts. And yes. I think a lot of people don't equate that sometimes to development. They just think about text jockeys.
Yeah.
It's the guy that's just typing on the keyboard with getting directions from someone else, but they don't think about what they're actually thinking about. And we'll go into that because you have a lot of that to talk about today.
Just programming monkeys, you mean?
Programming monkeys.
Yeah, pretty much. And excuse my my sickness today. I'm still a little under the weather. Been coughing and sneezing a lot. So
no worries.
Yeah. Hey, so you're in the future, like we were talking about a little bit ahead of time, and you're in Netherlands. You're in the Amsterdam area? Is that correct?
No. I live in Zwartgem, which is down south, near Eindhoven. Maybe you're familiar with.
Near what?
Eindhoven. Maybe you're familiar.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
I am not familiar with this. What's it like? Tell me.
Yeah.
Well, it's flat. It's rainy right now, and
I thought Amsterdam was hilly. It's completely flat there.
No, not really. No, Amsterdam is pretty flat. So.
Okay.
Yeah. It's great living here in the Netherlands because you can drive 3 hours to Belgium or Germany, and you have mountains there. Mountains.
Yeah, the weather's supposed to be beautiful, right? Like it's always nice and kind of cool. It's never, it's never like burning up hot there or anything like that. And there's something I always think about too when I think about Amsterdam. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something that I always think about it's the coffee. I think I don't remember.
Maybe the red light district or.
Oh, geez, talking about that, Brian, go ahead.
Oh no!
Don't throw me under the bus.
So, have you always been there? I mean, did you grow up there? I'm not. I don't want to just put your accent in a bucket and say that's where you're from. No, not the red light district, but the Netherlands.
No, I grew up in the Netherlands, and so I've never been in America actually. So I would love to go there. So.
It's really nice right now. It's very Trump-tastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh God! Don't bring politics into
it. But yeah, America's wonderful. We have a beautiful country, a huge country. There's a ton of interesting things to see. So yeah, whenever you come by, give us a shout. We'll show you around.
I will. Yeah.
So what's?
Go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna ask what's the industry like over there?
The industry.
That could be my question. Yes.
Yeah, well, I think the industry is pretty much the same as there. I think I work pretty much always remotely, or if I work for clients in Amsterdam. But yeah, I don't think it's really much of a difference between in the Netherlands or in America. I think
is there
pretty
a
much same.
Big community there, a fairly active community, developers, designers.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. it's a lot of movement going on, a lot of interesting people, and yeah, well, Netherlands is a small country, but big in a lot of things like art, technology, sports, and yeah.
Yeah,
I think we're doing pretty great.
Yeah, I can't recall if it was Amsterdam, but I know aren't you going pretty big on renewable energy? Is Amsterdam pretty big on that?
I think so. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. So really, do you want to ask the typical question, Frederick, about how everyone?
I already know the answer because I looked at Patrick's LinkedIn, but
I think
we like to ask a lot of people about how they got their start, and usually there's some kind of musical element where they created a website for a band or some flyers or whatnot. And I believe that you're a guitarist, correct?
Yeah. Well, a guitarist. I play guitar for hobby, and so yeah, it is totally not related to industry at all. But
oh, okay.
Yeah, when I was 16, I play electric guitar like a lot of people, and right now I'm more into classical music, jazz, and flamenco. Maybe you're familiar with it. It's Spanish. Yeah.
Yeah, I dance flamenco with Brian often at our office. He's very good.
Really? Brian?
Brian? He's just being modest.
I'm shaking my head right now for people who can't see.
Well, how did you get your start in the industry then, Patrick? How did you go from? How did you find your inspiration? Did it start off in high school, university, and how did you get to where you're at today?
Yeah, I think it's. I'm always a creative kind of person, I guess, and when I always love to create stuff and to deconstruct things and to put it back together and examine how things works. And then I started to follow university in user experience and media design, and eventually I ended up in creating campaign websites back in the days in Flash, and so yeah, that's
Flash.
Yeah, Flash, the golden age.
A lot of people got their start there.
Do you miss the intro animations that existed on every single website?
Yeah, with the intro.
They all had gears.
It's that preloader.
Yeah. Although I think the tool itself is, I really love the way it works, but yeah.
So can you play that mandolin behind you?
Sorry?
Can you play that mandolin behind you? Can you?
Which one? That one?
Yeah.
Really? Do I have to?
Yes, you have to. It's mandatory. Mandatory mandolin.
Don't put me in this situation, man.
Okay, maybe we'll get back to the mandolin later. We'll ask about that and ask for performance. Like I said, it's mandatory. I put it in the show notes. I'm surprised you didn't see it, but we'll skip that for now. So let's talk about something a little bit more seasonal, something a little bit more spooky, something about spirit. Woo! Oh, spirit is a easily animate objects on the web for designers and developers. Can you tell us a little bit about it, and then we'll deep dive a little bit more into its genesis?
Sure. Yeah, it's pretty hard to talk about it without it's being released yet. But well, I'm planning to release it within 2 or 3 weeks from now.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. That's going to be one of my big questions. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I'm going to release to subscribers only. So you've subscribed it, so and only for Mac. So currently.
Sorry, Brian.
I'm on a Mac.
I know it's not your preference.
No.
But yeah, it started actually with in 2013. I was working for a client in Amsterdam called Random Studios. Great company, really good and skilled developers and designers there. And needed to create a parallax site where everything's moving in and out, and the designer at the time wanted to chase the animations at all time, which obviously is understandable, but from a developer perspective, it's kind of hard because you want to have certain constraints to create something. And so I ended up creating a prototype where you can scroll down and you can create transitions for your scroll positions, and you can animate actually properties on HTML elements. And that way, I was able to manage states for the animation. And yeah, I finished the animations pretty quickly. So eventually, I was reusing the same prototype for almost every project. And last year, in February last year, I decided to give it to the people and create a landing page for it. But I never thought that it wasn't my intention that it grows so fast, really. And yeah, I built the landing page in one day, and within I think a month, I had more than 4,000 subscribers. And
wow, that's amazing.
Wow. Yeah, and I got calls by big companies, and my mailbox was really flooded, and I really had to do something. So I decided to stop freelancing and put all my time into Spirit to. I can create a product that's hopefully what people want. And
you can see that there's a huge need out there. If everybody's knocking on your door and saying, "Hey, we need this," I mean, obviously that's great.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of it. When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh my god!" And all those emails and stuff. My fault. I retweeted it. I'm sorry.
Oh, really? Thanks, man.
But yeah, and I love the website. Did you do all the little animated graphic?
No. A friend of mine, Timo Kelder, created the design.
Nice.
And another friend of mine, Don Blau, from No Momo Studio, he created the animations back then in Flash, and I recreated it of course with my tool. And so right now those are GIF animations, but I'm planning to, before I am releasing, to add the animation.
Yeah, I know a good application that you could use to make those. It's called yeah. So I love the Medium article that you wrote about it, and I love the kind of the touch points too that you dove into about how you wanted something that was framework agnostic.
Yeah.
And just like you were saying too, how you were looking for something that was you could easily go into and change things, and you could go into a timeline. And I was very interested by the video that you put up about where you got your inspiration from. Bret Victor?
Bret Victor, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What is it? Inventing on Principle? Like, that's an amazing video, and we'll put a link to the show notes on that. But basically, he has this application where it's a text editor on one side and then the preview on the other, and he's showing how he's making edits in either section. Like, he could go to the preview and he could click on a section in it and change the code and change the how the actual preview looks. Like, he had this tree and he's making the leaves go in and out, or making the tree taller and smaller, and he could do the same thing on the preview. But then he actually went into a little bit more of an interesting path where he was showing this preview of this game, and where he wanted to show he changed the physics where he wanted to have this character jump into this one special spot, and he was able to create this kind of timeline, and within the timeline show the keyframe and animate things by just adjusting that, and then that would live adjust his code. And it was all based on the fact that you need a it really helps produce good ideas if you're able to have those kind of things instantly and see the results instantly while you're doing it, because there's some ideas that germinate from that instant view of things.
Definitely, yeah, that's well spoken. That's really the core concept. Creators needs to be able to see changes immediately, and by doing that, you invent new stuff. You discover things which you wouldn't discover otherwise.
So is there, I'm going to obviously it's not released yet, so you can't. Maybe you don't want to share too much. But is that actually going to be a UI element aspect to it, or is it going to be something similar to Framer, or are you going more UI based, where you can truly control things more visually rather than with code?
Great question.
Good question. Yeah. The difference, I think the key difference between conventional tooling and Spirit is that that the web page, the actual web page, is the canvas, is your working area, and you can do anything on that. Like, for example, with Spirit I can connect to any website. For example, Thunder Nerds, and I can find your photo, for example, and I can make you dance, or I can make you rotate.
Make you dance, please do that.
Do it.
I will.
The flamingo.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the
tangent. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's I think that's one of the core things that's the difference between Spirit and the rest of the tooling, because the rest of the tooling, you create your content within that environment and you switch back to the browser, for example, or you need to create an export, maybe you need to compile it or something, and you go to the representation of it at the browser in this case, and you see the result, right? And maybe you want to change it differently, and you go back to your programming environment and make some changes, or maybe you go back to After Effects and use a body moving plugin or something different, and go back to your HTML or your actual web page and see the changes. And my goal is that you can create the animations real time on your actual web page. So
just like Bret was talking about in his video, I imagine, since you're citing his video, you're getting a lot of inspiration from there. It's going to be the same kind of thing where you can make those changes, see the results instantly, and then you might get some other ideas that come from that.
Yeah, true. Only the difference is that Bret Victor shows more code and codes related to a visual representation of the code. Mm-hmm. And with Spirit, you just have a simple timeline where you can put HTML elements into the timeline. Like, for example, you can click on an HTML element, and that
you make it editable.
Yeah, that element will appear in the timeline in the app, and you can animate it the way you want to, and that's how it eventually going to work. And I have a lot of features on the backlog right now, and one of those features, which I think is really cool, is that you can add JavaScript objects as well. For example, if you're working in a 3GS environment and you want to create a 3GS camera and you want to move it, normally you would program it and see the results, how it looks like. And now you just can visually animate the camera in a room, or, for example, and so yeah,
kind of like the logic you would think of when you move a camera around in something like After Effects,
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what can you? What are you going to be able to export out from this? Is it your standard things like you would think of, like you get? What did you say?
You beat me to it. That was going to be my question.
Like things like Canvas or HTML with CSS animation, GIFs. So what are you going to get out of this?
Yeah, right now you need to have existing HTML page where your assets are live on the page right now, and you can animate it. And the app itself exports JSON data, which if you want to use it in production, you can use a runtime, Spirit runtime, and you can include it in your web page and load that data into it, and you can control the animation the way you like.
So you just include you include the Spirit JS script.
Yeah, for example,
basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And can you? And is it modular? So or for, I don't know, again, how far you want to go into this, but say I do something that is a very simple animation. Is it the full runtime that's in there, or is it only pulling out maybe the pieces of the JavaScript to run that specific animation?
It's only for playback animation, so for the animation playback. So it's pretty lightweight. It's something like below the 10 kilobyte or something. So yeah,
Nice.
it's only for playing the animation itself.
Nice.
That's gonna be
yeah.
really cool too. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah.
So you said
Yeah.
2 weeks, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. But it will be very minimal.
Uh-huh.
And I'm even working on something which is really cool, that you can drop an SVG file on the app itself, and you go to playground.spiritapp.io, and you can you see your design right on your web page, and you can animate it, and if you want to export it and use it in production.
That's pretty cool. That's nice.
You want a beta tester or anything? I mean,
this is 3 weeks is going to be the beta test, right? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Nice.
What did you write this in, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, sure, no worries. It's I wrote it in just plain JavaScript, and I use a Node WebKit for it to build a native app for it.
Oh, great.
And I was if I could do it again, I would use Electron, I think, because it's better. But yeah, back in the day when I started last year, Node WebKit was my weapon of choice. So.
Yeah, I hear you. So why the name? Where's that name come from?
Yeah.
What's so spooky about animation?
Did you just have the URL?
No, that wasn't at all. I think naming is always hard. I think,
yes.
Spirit, it is short, so it's that's a good point, I think. Always short names. Yeah, I love short names, and beside of that is that if you want to relate it to animation in any way, then you can say maybe it's a non-physical part of a person, right? Like the soul and the emotions, the character.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to to relate it to animation anyway.
Yeah.
So let me ask you though, you weren't planning on, because it's saying you said like 2 to 3 weeks, so that sounds like to me that it's dropping on Halloween and it's spooky. Did you plan that? Like,
wow.
You got a correlation there?
Wow. I didn't imagine that. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You should drop it right on Halloween.
I think that was premeditated.
I think I will. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and really great mascot too. Like the little ghost is perfect.
Yeah.
Very kind of Pac-Man-y, but kind of not Pac-Man-y too. It's like
it looks like it, right? Yeah.
So are you doing this with a group of people? Because I see in the language you use the we plural. I didn't know if that was the we like royal, but you have some people doing the design. Yeah,
design and the animation, but I'm building the app myself. So actually I'm doing it all on my own, but hopefully within the short of time, I will have people beside me working together and collaborate on this, because it's getting pretty big and too much work to handle actually. So I would
got it.
And another point on the other side is that I really miss a partner. If it's a success, then you can celebrate it together or take your losses together.
That's true.
Yeah, looking in the mirror isn't the same.
Exactly.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
You can't hug the mirror.
The mirror is my best friend at the moment. So
nice.
So diving a little bit farther in, you said there's a UI, but I also see there's some sort of API. Could I just say you said you're releasing it on Mac? Say if I open my Windows machine or my Linux machine, could I just take this library and just use the API?
By API you mean the runtime or?
Well, I'm just on the features you say there's easy to use API, so I'm assuming yes. The runtime. Yeah. So if I included the runtime in my file, can I reference this to do the animations?
Yeah, the runtime is just a simple library which you can use in Node or compile with Webpack or something else. Doesn't matter. It's just plain JavaScript, and you can run it in any browser.
Okay.
It uses some modern things.
ES6.
So maybe you need a polyfill for it. Yeah, it's written in ECMAScript 6 and transpile to. But yeah, it's up to you. So if you want to use it for Internet Explorer, for example, then you probably need a polyfill for it.
So this is going to run on my IE6 machine perfectly, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, and right now it uses the runtime uses GSAP for the animations, for running the animations. So I think that's a good point to say. But it's up to the community. If you want to use another playback animation, then animation playback, then you can hopefully the community can help by creating another runtime for it or updating the runtime.
And the JSON a little bit you described. I know I'm kind of getting. I'm like, tell me everything.
Okay, maybe I have to start over. The Spirit app consists of 3 elements actually.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
One is the editor itself, and that's the desktop application.
Yeah.
And that thing is it doesn't know anything about any framework or anything at all. Then you have the runtime, which you can use and implement in your website. And there's a Chrome extension involved, which you need to have installed. And right now, Chrome extension. Browser extension right now is only for Chrome, but maybe we can use it for Safari or Firefox as well. And the extension sets up the communication between the web page and the app via WebSocket. And so actually everything
real-time communication.
Yeah, just everything happens on your web page. If I make changes in the editor, then only the web page gets updated. So all the data lives in your web page itself and not in the app. And if your export as JSON would be the same as you do the runtime to JSON, for example. But so that's how it works.
So the JSON basically is contain the, I guess, the timeline information.
The timeline information, the transitions, anything that needs to happen between one point to another. Yeah.
Nice. Sounds very cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it, and yeah.
I hope so.
I can't wait. That's great.
Are you getting any people that are from different kind of companies asking you about this, like that they want some kind of look? I mean, you said you had a lot of correspondence about this. Like, is there anybody like an Adobe or somebody knocking at your door saying, "Hey, can we take a peek? What do you got?"
Well,
here's $1 million.
Yeah, here's $1 million. Would that be acceptable?
He wants more. Look at his face. He's like, no.
No, to be honest, it's my motivation is to create something that and help other people creating animation. Obviously, I haven't any income since a year and a half or something. So yeah, some money would be nice eventually. But I don't want to be rich or anything. I would just want to create cool stuff and
get your fair share, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm heading for. So yeah. So if I don't know but yeah, the companies like Google and Adobe did contact me about it. But yeah.
Yeah, I could see somebody asking you about it.
Yeah, ask me this, but this more for example, Angular team. I have a chat with Matthias about it, and but just sharing insights about animation tooling in general, and nothing more. Yeah.
Well, the amazing thing about it is that it's unlike Framer or Flinto or insert any prototype tool, is that you can do this and export it out, and I can use it in my website. I don't have to. I don't have to then. Okay, well, I'm going to use the Bezier curves and recreate it. And again, that's the awesome thing. It seems
that's a great point, Brian. Because I was going to ask you too. Like, how is this? How do you tell people this is different from things like key shape or using Snap SVG or Kite, things like that. Like, what are the selling points between something like that and this?
Yeah, I think one of the like I said, everything happens on your web page itself instead of working in an isolated editor and export it, and compile it, and use it in your website and implement it. So you can use it on your website. And another thing is, like Brian said, that you can change your animations at any time. And by saying that, it's really cool that you can just visit any random page and animate it. And if you like it and you show it to your clients, so you can export it and use it in production, for example. So that's, I think, really cool. And I haven't seen it before, so yeah.
Yeah, it seems all of them come so close. That's why I'm really excited about yours. I mean, Keyshape is kind of close. There's Hype, kind of close, but again, they're not. They're putting almost their own square they put it in a canvas basically. So it's not actually on the HTML page. They're adding their own stuff to do it, which is very, very different from what you're describing, where you can actually just. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's pretty hard to build something like what I'm doing right now, because you have to deal with browser compatibility, cross-browser things, like how SVGs are rendered, for example. And eventually, my goal is that that you can, for example, you have an SVG and you have some path data in it, and that you can visually create anchor points and handles and live in your web page and change it and animate it, of course. Then that would be better. And things like Mojets, like custom ease curves, drawing custom ease curves, and go nuts with it. I think possibilities will be endless
So that's gonna be in version 1.
No, definitely not. It's Halloween. Version 1 will be very minimal, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, one thing I was hoping that with the name that I forgot to mention earlier, I was hoping that there was some link to the movie Spirited Away.
I haven't seen it.
What?
I thought that would be. Yeah, I thought you were somehow inspired by that, and I thought that would have been interesting.
Well, how is the movie called? I definitely need to see it.
Spirited Away.
We'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, it's I can never say the name. Studio Ghibli. It's a big and it's an anime. It's a cartoon, but it's really good. It's like one of the best from the studio, in my opinion.
Oh, cool. We'll definitely give it a try.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're getting around to the end of the show, Patrick. We got some closing questions and some group topics. Brian, do you want to take it off?
Yeah.
Sure. My question I always ask is it's a spotlight. It's basically something that you've discovered recently. It could be anything. It could be something you actually discovered a year ago that you're just still really excited about. It could be barbecue sauce. It could be
wow.
It could be a new cheese. It could be a wine. So it doesn't have to be tech related. We'll give you time so you can think about it. I go first. You only have like 2 minutes though, so Google fast. Mine is actually, if anyone listened to, I believe, what episode was it? Is it about the iPhone, Frederick?
54. I don't know.
Yeah, episode 54. We talked basically. Go put a link, but we basically had an hour-long rant about the next gen iPhone and how we felt about it, and we're not going to get started on that path. Don't worry, Frederick.
But actually, that's episode 75. That was the last one, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. And so basically, Google announced their new devices, the Pixel 2, and I jumped on it. They're really innovating. They're innovating on the software and the hardware level. That's something that we're not seeing from Apple. So I decided I'm just going to do it. And we'll see how it goes. So that's my pick, is the Pixel 2 XL.
Cool.
I'm Frederick.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that phone. And you said it comes with their home system, right?
Yeah, it comes with the Google Home Mini. Anyone who pre-orders buys it now, I guess, gets it for free. It's a $50 item, so it's not that amazing. But hey, it's a free $50 item. So
yeah, $50. I think that's pretty amazing. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think the design is pretty awesome. It has a very retro-y, modern vibe that's really interesting. Especially that tealish looking, what they call. Oh, I love the names too. It's kind of blue. It reminds me of like the old diners. Like bluish color that used to be in diners. So yeah, and I love the little accent color on the side. I don't know. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your report on it. For me, you know what I just discovered is they're putting out, and maybe they announced it this week, I'm not sure. They're putting out Edge for iOS.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I really like Edge. It's a super different kind of way that they've written it. And it's
Edge, by the way, it's Edge browser. It's a web browser from Microsoft.
Yeah, I was going to get into that, buddy. Okay. Yeah, it's Microsoft's browser. It's, they went from Internet Explorer to Edge. It's very edgy, but it's actually a really good browser. They've taken a lot of care to get away from that stigma of Internet Explorer, and they've invested a lot of time in it, and it's a nice browser. I'm looking forward to seeing that in iOS.
Yeah, they released it for Android as well, iOS and Android. And Edge actually is very modern, like on Windows. Like I can talk for a long time. Frederick knows about how my fandom of Windows and how they're actually innovating and blah blah blah.
Oh, you like Windows?
Edge is really nice. Yeah, I like it a little bit. Yeah,
a little bit. All right, Patrick, what you got?
Your turn.
Yeah, well, it's very short time to come up with something, but recently I came up with an app, and it's called Protenopia. Have you seen it?
Protenopia sounds familiar.
I can show it maybe if I put down my light a little. It's pretty awesome. It's actually a cartoon, and you can watch it, and everything is in some kind of 3D-ish, and you can. Oh, wait. Maybe I have to.
Is it an AR kit thing or?
It's on iOS only. I think it's like maybe can see it.
We can see it a little bit. Yeah.
And if I move I tilt the icon.
Oh, nice. What we're seeing in the camera for our audio listeners is it looks like there's like a forest and it's in 3. No, wait, it's not a forest. It's army men. Army men
in a boat.
Yeah.
And when you move, you have actually the feeling. And if I'm swiping to the
so it's like a comic.
It's a
parallax effect.
It's a comic, but it's a parallax effect. Only it's so cool that if you scrolling through, it's moving, it's animating actually. So maybe can you see it here? Wait, just a second. It's really cool. I think they created it in some kind of 3D environment, and like this, for example. So it's animating, and if you tilt your iPhone,
so cool.
Then everything moves around. So you actually have the feeling that you are in it. So
immersive.
Is this like a consumption kind of thing for comics, or what is it?
It's just I think it's just a demo for a comic.
Okay.
But it's definitely cool. Protenopia.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes to that. That's pretty neat.
That's really awesome. Yeah.
All right, hey Patrick. The last 2 questions I got for you are
shoot.
One. If you weren't doing what you do now and you couldn't be around a computer, what would you be doing professionally?
I think I try to be a good flamenco guitarist. I think that's what I.
Full circle. Grab that mandolin. Let's hear it. Come on.
No, man. Really?
Okay.
Yeah, grab it. Let's hear it. Come on.
Man. Then I go.
Here we go.
Fuck.
You're so Frederick, audio listeners, Frederick is so excited. He's red. He's like red and glowing.
I'm so happy right now. All right. All right, hold on, everybody. Patrick's getting ready.
What I need to play, actually. So, for example, something like that.
Nice.
Very good. That was awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, you have 2 hours more of playing to go.
No.
My second question is, can you play for 2 more hours?
2 more hours, yeah.
My next question is,
Can I interrupt before you jump?
Yeah,
I'm curious. How have you played? Do you play often in local shows or bars, or do you have a little band? Or
No, not really. I'm just playing for myself, and yeah.
Just for the joy of it. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
all right. So my last question is, when you pass away, what is your version of heaven? When you leave this world, what do you see? What's your version of heaven?
Oh, that's
Holy Spirit.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit. Well,
these ghosts are everywhere, and they want me to animate them.
what's my how heaven looks like, or
Whatever your personal heaven, buddy.
my personal heaven? Wow, I've never thought about it really.
It's time to.
I really don't know. Sorry, I can't help you. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Sorry. Yeah. I have no answer to that, I think.
All right, wow. Okay, well, that will just perplex you for the rest of the day.
Empty, dark void. That's heaven for me.
All right, Patrick. Well, then, my last question to you is this: do you have any kind of words of wisdom for our audience as we're saying goodbye? Anything you'd like to tell everybody about you or a spirit or whatnot?
Not really a word of wisdom, but one thing I would like to share.
Haiku.
Well, one thing I'd like to share is that what really keeps me motivated and focused is that obviously it only works for freelancers is that I'm working often on a project like 3 or 6 months, and then take some time off for myself and doing some research and development, or developing in fiddle around with new code or technologies, and or play flamenco guitar or something totally different. And so I'm completely recharged to take on another assignment afterwards. But most of the people I know take project on project on project, and just keep on going. That's one thing I could really encourage other people to do. Yeah.
Take some time, smell the roses, recharge. Will definitely provide you the ability to produce better work.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, hey, man, thank you so much for spending some time with us in the future, all the way across the great ocean.
Yeah, I'm super excited what's coming too. 3 weeks, it's the limit now. I put it in my calendar.
3 weeks.
Remember, everybody, Halloween night at midnight.
At midnight. Yeah, I think I will release on Halloween. Yeah.
That would be awesome. I really hope so.
And I'm really looking forward to future shows.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate
it. Really cool. Yeah.
All right, cool. We're really looking forward to having some haunted animation out there.
Yeah, we'll have to get you on after it's been released for a while, kind of get a follow-up. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. All right, cool. Well, hey, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was really cool. Thanks.